Uh, my last question for you all is defunding the police.
Going to the bathroom.
Let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready.
Yeah. I think you might want to start this one because you seem fired up about it.
Defund the police. There's no reason why. I had to go. Can you see this degree back there? I don't know if you can read it. That is my vocal performance degree. I went to school for 4 years to get that, and I'm still paying for that. When it takes 6 weeks to become a police officer? I saw something that said that we train our police officers to be warriors and then send them out to be social workers.
Mhm.
And that is not okay. That is absolutely not okay. All of the money that we are taking away from education, from Social Security and things like that, and instead of training these officers properly, it's mind-boggling. I don't understand how it's okay.
Yeah.
The amount of money that's gone into their riot gear could have paid for PPE for several hospitals during a pandemic.
Could pay to help with the government assistance that schools need right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They could keep all those kids at home, provide laptops for them so that they can go to school at home.
Mm-hmm.
What did I miss?
It's such a complex issue. And before I say what I'm going to say, I am wholeheartedly for the defund the police movement. However, I do feel like the tagline defund the
The
police
verbiage, yes,
is very aggressive. And I wish we would have picked a better slogan.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I
wholeheartedly for everything the movement represents, but when the way that it comes off isn't like Black Lives Matter, where it is a more passive verbiage, as you said. It is very aggressive, and I think something along the lines of reestablish the foundation of the police, even though that doesn't sound as
reform
the police, restructure, reestablish any. There just needs to be a better connotation to what it is because it gives people the wrong idea.
And now it's used as propaganda for.
And the people who already didn't agree with it now feel like they have ammunition to take shots back at it.
Yeah.
And I think that's something
defunding the police is like very clearly what that says. It's
but when you
defunding
defund the police, what they take it as is de-establish, get rid of the cops. And
but
then
that's not those are two different words. Those are two different words, though. So that's not like
that's
our fault. That's their fault.
No, I think that, to me, I agree with you. I think that the problem with the word is when you say defund something, let's say that Shawnee
defund the arts, right?
Yes, it has the implication that you're taking everything.
That means you're taking away their money, and they use something else that is not such a lightning rod, because people who are not going to go out and do their homework, they're just going to hear you say, "Oh yeah, I'm for defunding the police." What do you mean defunding the police? You're taking away their money to do their job. They don't understand that you want that what they really want to do, because when they initially said it, I was like, "Oh no, you're not." Because I'm thinking like, folks, you want to defund the police, and well, then who's going to protect us?
Yes.
Right.
Or what it does is the people who have, for like Blue Lives Matter, my dad's a cop, my uncle's a cop, all that stuff. They're like, my dad's going to lose his job because of you, and that's what it comes.
Get another job.
Jazzy is a
I'm sorry. I'm over it. Blue lives don't matter. Blue lives are not a thing. It's a job. Get another one. You can take that uniform off and go somewhere else.
No, but they're not understanding because and this is all from what they did in New Jersey, which where was it? I forgot what town in New Jersey. But they didn't take money away. They just some of the they did responsible for doing.
Right.
I'm just tired of sugarcoating things. Like,
Take
they
it
have
away.
killed so many people, and I'm tired of making excuses and sugarfooting around things.
All right, girls.
We need to make a change.
The reason is, I agree with you. I think that there needs to be change, but the only way to facilitate change is to have not the approach of let's just run over our enemy's ideology, but let's like reach across the aisle and make reasonable compromise, reasonable and substantial compromise.
Jazzy is no, that's not gonna work. We did that.
I think defunding the police is reasonable, because I know that defunding does not mean that they're going to lose their funding entirely.
Right.
But you have to, when you use defund the police, you have to explain that. Here's the thing, like I said, I agree with the movement because I understand through research, like Lawrence, like when they first said that, I was like, I don't know if I can, like I'm about BLM, but I don't know if I'm about that. And so I looked into what it was actually talking about, like talking about reshuffling the funds of the police to other systems like social work, like education, like getting rid of the pipeline system.
Right, well, and you just explained that in 2 seconds.
But the
so
thing
it's
is,
not
when you
really
take
that
on the
complicated.
Police, other people don't want to hear anything else. And once you've lost them, you've lost them.
Right.
But that's where they need to, again, from where this started, they need to change the wording, because it is alarming when you say defund. It means like they
eliminate.
We're defunding you for welfare. No, you're not. You're not taking away my
No, but like in all honesty, I really do feel like the defund the police movement is something that should be taken very seriously and is the next logical step for where we go as a country. I truly 100% believe that there should not be police officers patrolling areas that they are not from. Like the whole idea that a state trooper can be from Easton and be out here patrolling in my community that he knows nothing about is detrimental, especially when you go to lower income areas. And here isn't even that bad. And that's what the defund the police movement is truly about, is looking at all the books, looking at how they do things, like you said before, Jazzy, looking at the way that they educate the police. Like, policemen should be I don't want to necessarily say that, but to some degree, policemen should be required to learn philosophy, ethics, law, sociology.
It should be a 4-year degree.
Right.
They need to go to college.
Oh, hell no, not 4 years. Honestly, you should need your master's to become a police officer. If I'm going to need my master's to do basically almost anything of substance nowadays, being a police officer should be no different. You shouldn't. It shouldn't take you an eighth of the time to become a police officer as it does to become a doctor or a lawyer. 2 other positions where my life is in your hands.
Right.
Oh, that's true.
But
it's true.
Yeah.
The thing I would like to add, and I say this at the risk, probably going to make me sound a little bit conservative. I too agree. There's, it does, a lot of changes need to be made, but I would caution, the people that are making these changes, to do them, judiciously. because we have a tendency in America to overcorrect things. And then we'll end up in a position where I don't want to end up in a position where police aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing because we're not getting the protection that we need, is what I'm, because, you know, we've seen this before, too many times before, where there's a problem and they go and they correct the problem, but instead of landing somewhere at 50%, they go down to 20. And then people are complaining that, oh, well, that's what you said you wanted. You didn't want all. No, that's not what we said we wanted. We wanted more regulations. It's what really people are saying. They want police to be regulated. I mean, I think it's police training is what, 8 months, 9 months?
It's less than that.
Really?
I think it may vary depending on where you're at in the country.
Well, anything under a year, I think that, you know.
3 months. 3 months academy.
I quite agree that it needs to be.
I want to say 3.
But I do agree that it needs to be longer than 8 or 9 months or even a year. They should be required, you know, to do classwork, understanding social issues, and how to resolve social issues without confrontation. Because, you know, a lot of things can be avoided, you know, escalating. I mean, just without, just with the knowledge.
And with reforming the education of police officers, we're also going to have to look at who we choose to be their professors.
Yeah.
Here's the problem is that they're making it easier to become a manager. It's now easier to become a police officer than it is to become a manager at McDonald's.
Wow.
And that's terrible. Because, again, no other first world country does it like we do it.
No, because we're a third world country with iPhones.
That makes Americans proud.
The word you just used was reform. That should have been not refund. It should have been reform the police department. Because that's essentially what you want to do. You want to reform them. You don't want to get rid of them. And that would have made more sense. I don't know who came up with the, or how it got coined, refund the police.
Because there's so many other facets that need that funding as well. So it's more than just a reform. It is defunding them.
It's defunding and pushing the money elsewhere, which is another thing that people aren't understanding.
But you're more reforming the police because you're taking away some them answering, you know, people who have psychiatric issues away and handing it back to the social workers who are the ones that should be dealing with that, not police.
Right.
So that makes sense. I don't know. It's a question of semantics. It's just that I think in this time right now, when people are so dug in, to use, you know, a phrase like refund, it just puts them in a defensive mode.
It almost feels like it's like the system being against us again, to me, you know, with using that type of verbiage.
Yeah.
Because like, no, that's not what it is. And now, like, I see my friends online saying we can't defund the police, and then there's that commercial. I don't know if you've seen that commercial with Trump where the phone's ringing and it just keeps ringing and ringing and ringing, and they're like, "Oh, we're sorry, we can't answer the phone right now, but we'll get back to you in 7 days," or something like that. So now it's being used as propaganda to push another agenda, which is putting us back into that system which we're trying to break. And people are just so fucking stupid that they can't pick up their phone and say, what does defund the police really mean?
That's the thing, Jazzy, I agree with you. I think that it is a very simple explanation and you can word it very briefly. It's not that a concept to understand. And if you could explain it in that wording, I think that you would get a bigger majority of people to agree with the idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the wording has implications that aren't true.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then now I have to defend these implications I don't actually believe in.
Right. Right. And that's just like what we were talking about earlier with the Clorox thing, too. Like, like, you know, and I'm not defending him, but you know, I'm always the one who's like, wait, this really happened? I need to see the actual scene. And he didn't actually say anything about Clorox. He was like, maybe we can do some sort of disinfectant.
No.
And he also said in the summertime, coronavirus doesn't like the sunlight, so in the summertime, it'll be gone.
Right, but you know what I mean? Like, that gets used, and then that's
the Chinese flu.
The China. Oh,
that makes my skin crawl. The fact that he publicly still says that.
Things like that happen, but then it gets like misconstrued, and then like all of a sudden you see all these memes of people drinking Clorox bottles, you know? And it's like, well, what did he actually say?
You said use the Clorox. You're going to use the Clorox, the disinfectant, and with sunlight too, right? And I'm like, fucking kidding me!
No.
Oh my God, I haven't laughed so hard in my. I just sitting here in front of the TV just screaming. I called my brother. I was like, "This fucker, it's crazy!" Oh my goodness! But yeah, he said it again today, Tamir, on the news. China virus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Chinese flu, Chinese virus. I hate it. I hate it
terrible.
so much.
Hey, and I'm like, it is not the Chinese flu.
And then my favorite thing is when people try to defend it by going, but we still call it the Spanish flu. We still call influenza the Spanish flu. I'm like, we shouldn't have freaking called it that in the first place either. Just because we did it before doesn't make it right
doesn't
now.
mean we should do it now.
Then.
I hate it here.
She's like, I'm going to Canada.
I
Well, then
really
get out of
want
our
to.
country.
I can't because nobody will wear a mask, so we're all stuck here. No countries are letting us in.
Where?
I know.
I looked.
I know.
I tried to leave.
God.
And that's the thing too. Like, you know, like I've said that before. They're just like, get out of the country if you don't like it. It's like, okay, well, no. Like, I don't know.
But my whole thing isn't the whole idea of America is to try to improve itself and try to always be better and do what's best for the majority of people.
That's what they told us.
Well, that's what we were promised. And so when people try to like halt progress because of things that they don't agree with, it just makes me it makes it not compute for me when I'm like I saw this one meme that was like, no, because you see, like, if I have a leaky roof, I don't move houses, I just fix the roof. So when there are problems with this country, the idea isn't to just have this mass exodus and have everyone move to Canada or the UK. It's to fix the problems.
Fix the problem.
That's why we have the whole idea of making amendments to the Constitution. Because the founding fathers were like, there are definitely things about this that are good for right now and not good for 100 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
And they recognized that then. But people want to cling to old ideologies of the founding fathers as though they didn't think about the fact that times were going to change. And they would not be aware of what that change would be.
Making rules while they had slaves, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Prime example.